Pregame.com.
We have a showdown in the ACC between a pair of unbeaten teams on ESPN Friday night. This is Brad Powers in Pregame.com studios just off the Vegas Strip. We're talking Friday night college football action, a good one in the ACC with Miami taking on Duke.
You know, undefeated in the ACC. Has basketball season started yet? And shockingly, no, Duke qualifies. Who do you like?
I like the home underdog Duke in this case. We're going to take Duke plus the 6.5. And what we have here is Duke in their preferred underdog role. You look at the last 4 years, they're 19-7 against the spread every time they've lined up and taken the field as an underdog. So why is there value on Duke in this underdog role? Well, a lot of times when you look at Duke coming off the bus to get ready for the game, they don't look anywhere near as good as the Clemsons, the Florida States, the Miamis. But when you watch the game film and the tape, it's a smart team that doesn't beat themselves. They're very disciplined, don't make a lot of mistakes, and it's also they play very smart. It's also a team that plays a little bit with a chip on their shoulder when they're playing the big boys like the Clemsons and the Florida States. So therefore, I think this is a trend that can continue moving forward, and we're going to take Duke plus the points.
And an easy team to look past their opponents, thinking ahead. Duke's been great against the spread as an underdog, but this year they've actually been shattering Vegas's expectations in each and every game.
Yeah, and after making a bowl game for like 5 years in a row, last year they had a really down year, had a losing record, so they were undervalued coming into the season. So far for their first 4 games, they've covered all 4 of them, but by a significant margin, by an average of 14 points per game. And here's where I think they continue to misprice it. You don't think great defense with Duke, do you, Fez?
No.
They're top 10 in the country in total defense, so they have a legit defense this year.
Yeah, I think in terms of power ratings, most people are going to have their power ratings a lot further apart than your proprietary power ratings. How far apart do you have these two teams?
Now, I think I'm fair with Miami. They're a top 15 team. But Duke is where I think I have power rated above everyone else. I actually have them as a top 30 team. So when you take the power rating on a neutral field, it should say Miami's a 6-7 point favorite. But when you factor in the home field advantage, and I'll grant you Duke doesn't have a big home field advantage. This isn't Cameron Indoor Stadium here. But I think when you factor it in, it says Miami should be favored by only 3 or 4 instead of almost a full touchdown.
Wow, Duke, a top 30 team. That'll look good if they wind up in the top 25 at the end of the year. Your second key handicap.
Second key handicap, let's talk about Miami, their opponent. And I think we're catching a little bit of value because they're off a misleading 22-point quote-unquote blowout win over Toledo. You look at that game, they're trailing at halftime 16-10. Heck, even in the middle of the fourth quarter, they're only up 8 points. They're the ones that scored the last couple of touchdowns to get everyone that was betting Miami minus 13.5. All their tickets were cashed, so everyone's feeling good about Miami when the reality was that was a nip-and-tuck game.
All right, time out, because I have a different take from that. I saw Florida State and Miami, both of them rusty off of the Irma hurricane situation, come out and play bad first halves. I think in many ways, shouldn't we just throw those first halves into the trash can?
That's an excellent point. And a lot of the reason why they were slow is because of that. But here's where my concern is moving forward. Miami still has a relatively young quarterback, only making his 3rd start, and it's his first road start. And Miami didn't look that good in the opener against Bethune-Cookman. They're favored by like 50-some points, only win by 4 touchdowns. So it's a couple of back-to-back, I would say, subpar performances for Miami so far.
And an untried quarterback that really hasn't been able to get enough reps against quality competition, and now he's being thrust on the road against a decent opponent. Let's go ahead and make it official.
Yeah, let's make this official. We're taking Duke plus the 6.5. The Blue Devils in their preferred underdog role. How about this? 19-7 against the spread the last 26, and there's value because this team doesn't look great coming off the bus, but they don't beat themselves. They're smart, they're disciplined, and they also play with a chip on their shoulder whenever they're in this underdog role. Plus, we catch some value. Miami's off a misleading 22-point win over Toledo. That game was nip and tuck throughout. In fact, they only led by 8 in the middle of the fourth quarter. Add it all up, value on the home underdog, Duke plus the points. More videos at pregame.com.